have you talked a bit about the potential for Biden to implement some sort of export ban on oil and gas? And would that make foreign companies that have foreign production, I'm thinking Total or Equinor, more attractive in that potential scenario? And then also, which side of the production ledger has more room to grow production, oil or the gas space, both globally and domestically?
Okay, well, if you look at like Exxon has some wonderful stuff going on off of Guyana. I mean, but on the other hand, there's some giant fields between Madagascar and Africa, gas fields. So I think there's some big mega projects, both with gas and with oil, that if we're looking 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, they're going to be, I can't say game changers, but they're going to be, if you're looking for the big incremental increases, plus like the UAE invested in a lot of production. So I think it's hard to say which one is going to outpace the other when you look beyond the shores of the U.S., because there's some interesting things happening. You look domestically, I sometimes, I've looked at dry gas, I've looked at wet gas, I've looked at wet oil. Honestly, for me, Kuppy has a friend, Josh, who gets in the nitty gritty of every single balance sheet and what they're producing. He can answer that better than I can, because I'm kind of a macro guy. So I choose to have wet, dry, and mixed.
Bill, can you answer the question really of if Biden, when you wake up in the morning and he says there's no more exports, what that's going to do to the physicals world? Because, U.S. refineries aren't really set up for, light crudes. And, how do you think this all plays out?
Oh, if he did that, it would be catastrophic, because I think it would just introduce one more giant inefficiency into the system that we don't need. Like I said before, I mean, my opinion is the global flow of oil is like a ballet dance where each person, trades one thing for something slightly more efficient, and the degree to which that dance takes place keeps the flow moving, even if it's less efficient than normal. An export ban, you know what? I would guess right now, it would be the market would open lower, and it would be like the Trump election. It would open lower, and within 2 or 3 days, prices would be going back even higher.
Do we have the ability to even refine the light sweet crudes we produce in this country? I know we have very high specification refineries in the Gulf, but could we refine this light sweet stuff?
Well, I think, we're not getting all the VGO we used to get from the Black Sea. I think there's a lot of refinery inefficiencies that are happening right now already. We're not getting the mine we used to get. We're not getting the van we used to get. We're not getting a lot of the heavies we used to get. We would make do, but the whole system would be less efficient.
But wouldn't Brent go through the roof in that scenario?
Knee-jerk reaction is it would go up, but I don't know that it's already at a decent premium. It would probably go up incrementally. But we spent many, many, many years, with Brent at a $3 to $5 a barrel premium over WTI. Hard to say with certainty. I'm not sure I'd put that bet on.
So you don't think that is, from a political standpoint, that's, to me, one of the only levers that Biden does have to show that he's trying to address beyond releasing strategic oil reserves, trying to address the inflation situation and the prices at the gas pump. And so I think at some point, oil's at $200 a barrel, gas prices, here I live in California, they're probably $8, $9. What do you do? I see it as a knee-jerk reaction. I think that's a good possibility that by the end of his term, he does that.
You're probably right. If we looked at everything he could do wrong and we put that on the list, eventually we will end up there. You're probably right. And we should expect that. But
so to me, I want to own companies that have a ton of exposure outside of the US. And I'm wondering, what type of companies would you turn to at the top of your head that you would think would benefit the most in that scenario?
Well, my two largest, energy equities are Terra Resources and ExxonMobil. Exxon's boring, but they have got this giant field in Guyana, just outside of the U.S. And so the proximity, and part of it is also because, frankly, I'm really conservative. So I don't want to take my life savings with my wife and put it into, a bunch of smaller stuff. But I'm more comfortable with Exxon but I like the field. I like the assets they have. And my dad worked there many years ago. He was in the electric vehicles at Exxon. So I like Exxon. And I dealt with them for many years. So I think they're really, really one well-run company. But there's also, companies like Murphy and Hess that also have offshore.
Let me ask the question a different way. If you show up in the morning to work and we have an export ban and you're a physicals trader, what do you go buy and sell in futures? How would you construct the trade?
Well, let me turn around and ask you a question. All right. You know who gets hurt most? All those export terminals. You think about the LNG. What are we? All
the MLPs are screwed.
Yes. Are we going to? If we do that, are we going to not allow the export of LNG to our European friends? That would hurt the Germans more than anyone else. It would be strange legislation. So we're going to not allow the export of crude oil, but we're going to allow the export of gas. To not allow the export of gas would be catastrophic. Okay, I say catastrophic. It would be catastrophic to the gas producers. It would lower the price of gas, but it would be catastrophic to our European friends. I don't think we would do that. But if we did it just with crude oil, it would, what it would again do? It would hurt a lot of the shale producers. It would hurt, a lot of domestic producers that have gotten used to this environment where we export some of the beautiful stuff we produce and import heavy stuff that we know how to refine. What would it do? Ultimately, it's just going to make energy more expensive. Now, what would I do? Well, that's a tough one to answer, Kuppy.
No worries. I'll put you on the spot. No worries.
I think the complications that it introduces, we have, I'll just finish. Once we allowed exports, we became part of the global system. To then suddenly pull us out of it introduces huge inefficiencies that I just think makes all energy more expensive.